Welcome. This is the ninth in a series of videos demonstrating the use of two software packages, pfodDesigner and pfodApp. So today we're going to jump right into pfodApp again. And what I've got here is my rendition, a fictitious rendition of a hybrid knapweed. And it's a grow setup. And I'm going to be displaying four variables here: soil moisture, temperature, relative humidity, and CO2 part per million. And these are my plant selections here, 1 through 12. And what this video is mainly going to cover, pretty much 100%, is going to be what can be done in terms of, some of the capabilities of the software in terms of plotting, charting, graphing, whichever you want to call it. And the different methods that are available for making some of the choices and clicking on the parameters and whatnot here, and these buttons down here for setting scales and viewing and what have you. There's lots going on, but this video is going to basically cover what can be done, and then the next video, what we're going to do is we're gonna start breaking down how to do each one individually, like how to do a numeric selection, well, a numeric variable input or a string variable input. There's also a single selection input. And, how to set up touch zones so when you click on a button something happens. And of course the scaling, same thing, when you click on a button and you can change your scaling. And also we're going to be doing a little bit on serial print memory summary. Pulling some of that information out of memory and displaying it, so the end user can use that data. But today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select one of these plants. You can see all these Unicode characters here, and you can see the legend I've got over here. Now these Unicode characters, I'm going to address how to access them at the end of this video. It'll be one of the last things we do here. So to get started on the plots now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a one plant graph. And you can see the 4 stars I got lighting up there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select plant number 1. Now when I view one plot, because I've selected one plant, you're going to see 4 different variables being plotted here. Now these are fictitious numbers that I've got generated through just a loop and a bit of a loop, and I'm just adding numbers, adding a value to the numbers and what have you. And I've also got some randomization going on where instead of having just a straight line right across the graph, I've got a bit of randomization going on to add a bit of reality to the actual reading of the fictitious readings, Now because these values here are quite a bit lower, there are percentages and temperatures down here. The CO2 parts per million is going to be up in the 1300 range. I've got it down here as listed as CO2 part per million times 10. So you can have a look at that, and we'll take it from there. Now what I've also got going on here, because you're only doing one plot, you've only got the one scale on the side, right? And down here you can see your soil moisture percent, your temperature C, your relative humidity, your CO2 parts per million times 10. And you can see the color here. Well, I hope you can make it out. There's red for soil moisture content. There's blue here for temperature. You've got green for relative humidity percent. And this kind of gold looking color here for CO2 part per million times 10, So that's just a single plot. The one I really like is the 4 plot setup. So I'm just going to go ahead now and I'm just going to clear plant and parameter settings. And I'm going to select the 4 plant graph plot. And what I have to do now is I've got some prompt information coming up here, like to prompt the user of what to do next. 4 plants with select parameters active. Select 4 plants and select parameter. Okay, I'm going to select plants 11, 10, 9, and we'll say 6. And I'm going to select CO2 as being a parameter. Now, this little message comes up now. CO2 part per million is selected. You may now change graph scaling or use default value 0 to 2000. Okay, that's the way I've got the software done up. So we'll go ahead and we'll view the 4 plots. And with a bit of selection on your software, a bit of coding, you can see here that I've got, this is number 11, this is number 10, number 9, number 6, and the same thing down here, eh? Your red and your blue and your green and your gold for the different the different number selections of the plants, eh? So yeah, it's pretty nifty, eh? You can do some neat things with this graphics here and doing some comparisons, eh, with your variables. Now I'm just going to jump back out of that, and I'm going to go ahead and do a clear again, and I'm going to select 4 plants again. This time I'll select some different ones. 1, 3, 4, and 7, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and select CO2 part per million again. And instead of having the default values this time, I'm going to go ahead and do a scale min and a scale max, say, to change the scale. So I'm going to do scale min. Now this is a numeric input here is what I'm using. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my stylus now to type in 1200. And my stylus to save that. And I'm going to put in my max value now of 1800. Again, using my stylus. Okay, that's been saved. Let's go ahead and have a look at that, eh? View 4 plots. So now you can see the scaling has changed, eh? 1250 to 1800. And yeah, the numbering is still good. 1, 3, 4, and 7. Down here, 1, 3, 4, and 7. So that's how that business works. Now you can also go ahead and have a look at your raw data, because when you go ahead and you select a plot, the software automatically generates raw data. Now this is a CSV file, and we should have a couple of them now generated because we've asked for a couple different plots, but basically starts at 0, eh? And I've got to do a little more work on this, just to put some header in here on top of 0 to maybe to indicate which plants are being selected and so on and so forth, eh? So yeah, your comma separated data. This is represents the time of day. 23rd day, 23rd and a quarter, 23rd and a half, 23 and 3/4, so on and so on. So that raw data, if you've selected save raw data on your log there, which is right here. Oops, not right there, it's right here. Log plot raw data, raw data. So that'll send all the raw data that's being printed to to a CSV file on your tablet, and then you just go ahead and you can take that CSV file. If you want to go further with your graphics, with your plots and whatnot, you can just have that sent to you can pull it off your tablet and have it put into a spreadsheet, eh? So I'm going to go ahead and just jump out of this now. Get back into our plot. And what else is there to show here? I think that's pretty much about it, eh? I've got a serial print memory summary going on. And raw data, just a little bit of information. 12 plants of 4 samples each, 48 samples, blah, blah, blah. Number of samples per day, 192. Total days samples were taken, 28. Total number of bytes sampled, 5376. So it all works out to the size of your file that you're sending the information to. Now there's a couple ways to save data. You can send it to a FRAM memory chip, which is only 32 kilobytes. So there's not that much memory capacity there. Or you'd send it to an SD card, which most people probably use for data logging with a microcontroller, SD card. And send the information to one of those 2 devices, and then pull the information off those devices when it's time to have a look at it. Well, I thought that pretty much covered it, but there is one more thing we should take a look at. I'm going to go ahead and select 4 plants again, 4 plant graph, and I'll select plants 9, 7, 5, and 3. And this time I'm going to select parameter temperature, and we'll have a look at that. Okay. Now, the other thing that I didn't almost forgot to show was this is also available in landscape form. So I'm just going to flip my tablet over to landscape mode, and you can see there that the graphs appear in landscape form. So that's pretty nifty feature as well. So we'll just switch it back to portrait and carry on. We'll go ahead now and we'll go over to the laptop and we'll have a look at how those Unicode characters are done. Okay, here's a bit of the code on the Arduino IDE file there. So in order to print a Unicode character, first of all, your device has to support a Unicode character of that particular type that you're selecting. And I did a preliminary search, just a very short search one day, trying to find a list of characters that my tablet supported, but I couldn't really find nothing. But I didn't do an in-depth search. But if you do a PDF download, there's probably a number of different websites you can get it from. But you can download PDF files of Unicode characters, and then for like your label here, it's just a matter of your font size and where you want to offset it on the screen, the color that you want for that particular Unicode character. And then this here, this here backslash is your escape character, and then escape character U, and then 2741, and that selects the that's one of the 4-digit code for one of the characters that the Unicode characters that you're pulling, or that are loaded into the software and will be displayed if it's, like I said, if it's available on your device. So that's how that's done. So we're going to go ahead and exit now, and that's it for video 9, and we'll see you on the next one.